Okay, hello YouTubers. I wanted to do a video today about pipe tobacco, a little review. Not that I'm an expert, but I really wanted to talk about Dunhill My Mixture. I haven't really thought too much about this one. Today's been a rush, feeling a little bit stressed out, which is always a good reason to smoke a pipe to counter that. And a tobacco that I've had it for a while. I bought a box containing several mixtures of Dunhill's choice blends, and I bought this container, it's quite a few years ago I bought it. I think it was on holiday to Spain, and I went into the duty-free shop where you can buy things that aren't so heavily taxed, and it's got the Dunhill nightcap. Okay, it's got, these are all 50 gram tins, early morning pipe, Royal Yacht, the one I'll be reviewing today, which I've emptied out, My Mixture, and it's got the standard mixture, which I smoked all that years ago, so I can't review that one. But one I recently opened was the My Mixture 965, and it had dried out quite a bit, so I had to rehydrate it. So it was in a jar, rehydrated, and it's rehydrated quite well. It's the way I did it, which is probably the wrong way, but I cleaned out the jam jar, sterilised it, then I held it underneath a kettle that had been boiling so that the water vapour formed droplets inside, and then I knew that was sterilised water, and then put the dried tobacco inside, sealed the lid, left it until all of the tobacco had absorbed the sterilised water from the water vapour, and it's left it nice and moist, not too moist, just right really. And so we have My Mixture. Now the smell of it, it's very sweet. To me it's sweet. Kind of, it's a bit like when you get dry fruit, things like currants and dates or things like that, and it's got that rich, sort of sweet, slightly aromatic scent to it. You know, currants or some exotic fruit that's been dried. But there's also something, it's a strange one this. If you've drunk Guinness, you know when you buy the Guinness and just when you go to take that first drink, and there's a kind of background smell of the Guinness that hits you right at the back of the nose as you inhale to take a drink of Guinness, and it hits you right there. And that's got this, but with the sweetness, of sort of dry fruit. This is Latakia, Cavendish, an Oriental mix. So I kind of expect there to be a sweetness, but try it. Buy a pint of Guinness, or a bottle of Guinness if you can't get pints. Get a Guinness, and as you go, and then if you've got some of this, compare the two. That's what I'm getting anyway. Right, so I'm going to smoke it in my Peterson Dracula pipe, straight stem, X015, and as I say, I've had this for a while and had to rehydrate it. It's ribbon cut. I've got my own peculiar way of filling a pipe, but you have to bear with me. I use the filling it 3 times system, so I put some in level to the top once and then just push it in gently. They say to imagine that it's 3 types of handshake. The first time you're shaking hands with a baby, so you're very gentle. Then the next time you fill it to the top, it's like you're shaking hands with a lady. So it's firmer, but not too firm. And what happens is as you push down each layer, you get a consistent firmness all the way down. If you started firm with the first one, by the time you put the 3rd layer in, the bottom one would be completely solid and you wouldn't be able to breathe through it. Third and final filling to the top. And this one should be as if you're making a firm handshake, you know, that kind of pressure, a firm handshake. Sometimes I put a 4th fill in as well, but I could probably smoke this now for near enough an hour, which is too long. Who has an hour? Not me. I'm lucky if I get 5 minutes. That's one of the reasons I'm stressed. Okay, so I'm going to light this up in a sec. You'll notice that the tin, you can see it's an older tin because it hasn't got the sort of, all the tins now have in the UK anyway, have a warning saying if you smoke this you'll die, smoking will kill you. I have to show you a photograph of my grandfather's. One shows my dad's dad smoking a pipe, and he lived to be in his late 80s anyway. And my mum's dad used to smoke a pipe and drink strong cider, and I think he died at 96. So if it kills you, if I live that long, great. So first of all, a charring light. I'm just using a standard lighter. Usually use matches, but this was handy. I can't afford a pipe smoker's lighter. I'm what they call working poor. I worked it out the other day. It was my birthday, and I've been working for 30 years. Been unemployed twice. For the matter of, probably got back to work within a couple of months. Apart from that, been working for 30 years and nothing to show for it. Back to reviewing the tobacco. Well, I don't know if this is because I've had to rehydrate it. The first impression, it's got an unusual soapy flavour to it. Now I'm puffing on this a bit more than I'd usually take it steadier, but I'm trying to get as much flavour so I can tell you rather than you waiting for me to mull it over for 10 minutes. It's got a funny sort of, I said, a soapy flavour. It's almost like there's a cheap washing up liquid flavour to it. And I didn't use cheap washing up liquid to clean the jam jar out. It's definitely coming from the tobacco. It's very mellow. For an English blend, I'm not getting that sort of hit from the Latakia. It's not very heavy on the Latakia. And that soapy flavours, that's dying off a little bit. Yeah, it was a big surprise. It was an unpleasant surprise. As I say, it was like cheap discount washing up liquid sort of flavour underneath the tobacco. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pause it, carry on smoking this, and tell you how it tastes in about 5-10 minutes. Well, I've been puffing away on this for about 5 minutes now. It's burning pretty hot actually. It's not usually, the pot doesn't normally get this hot, so it's like a little furnace in there. Well, the soapy flavour, that seems to have gone. It seemed to be just when it was first lit. But there's an unusual flavour. Years ago I worked at a garden centre, and we used to get these big barrels that came in that they'd had things like wine or whiskey or whatever in, and they were sold to the garden centre because they'd cut them in half and they'd turn them into planters. When you used to get these barrels, straight away you'd get this smell of the alcohol that had soaked into the wood over years, and the flavour reminds me a lot of that sort of scent of alcohol soaked wood over a long period of time. I'm sort of getting that in every mouthful of smoke. Surprisingly mild. I'd say it's quite well balanced. There's not one flavour that overpowers the other, but I've just got another little hit of that soapiness. I'm not used to that. I've heard people saying in certain tobaccos like St Bruno and Condor that you have this soapiness, and it just occurred to me, is that the same as what I first had? And I said it was like cheap washing up liquid. I don't think I'd go out and buy this again. It really isn't my thing. Obviously, now I've bought it, I will smoke it, because I can't afford to just waste tobacco. Like anything in Britain, if you enjoy it, it costs a fortune, so maybe by the time I've got down to the bottom of the jar I might have got an acquired taste, but it is an acquired taste. It's not like the tobaccos I'm used to smoking. It's not terrible, it's just not the best. I'd advise anybody, if you want to try it, to see if your specialist tobacconist will do you a small sample. I know a lot of tobacconists in Britain anyway will do small selections. If you say you want certain types, if it was Dunhill for example, they might do you a little pinch of each, but that's only if they have it in, they've got large quantities of it in jars. They're not going to split a tin for you. And it's starting to go out. Which again is something I'm not used to normally when I smoke them, more regular tobaccos. I just wanted a little tamp. I guess I found a gap between the ember and the next little bit of tobacco, so there we go. Yeah, the fine white powder on the top now. I don't know what more I can say about it really. I guess that's it. It's well balanced, not overpowering. For an English mixture there's not a lot of latakia, or doesn't seem to be overpowering. It's got a strange sort of soapy flavour. It was burning a bit hot, but since I've been talking it's cooled down a bit. I'm getting a little bit of tongue bite. But it is still burning, just need a little bit of attention from the tamp. If I was going to give it marks out of 10, if I was generous I'd say 7. 7 out of 10. Okay, well, I'll have to just get rid of this, smoke it down over the next few days and rehydrate some of the other stuff. Okay, bye.